And there we go. Let me just get audio. Alrighty, you should be audible, Rue.
Hello, can everyone hear me okay?
Welcome to the Resonite Art Team Office Hours. I'm Aegis Wolf, and this is Rue Shen of the
Hello.
Resonite Art Team. Those of you just tuning in, you can always ask questions here. Otherwise, we'd be chilling in the sands of dunes right now.
Yep. I am also going to do the ats.
The what?
The ats.
Ah, okay. Yeah. There is some stuff that we're gonna cover a bit here in this session. There we go. Mainly about what we've been doing with the cloud home and some of the stuff we've been working on in the background as well too. We usually have some time in the beginning of the streams to have people go through ads or get the um, actual pings or notifications out too.
There we go. Another ping to the live streams. We've started doing that for the
I
office hours. That way, people get a little bit more attention to it.
I also did live streams ping there too, if you noticed.
Not recently.
I thought I did. Did I? Or did I just like reshared the post in the wrong?
I checked to make sure because the last thing in there was an announcement from Brooks.
Then what happened to the forwarded message that I just put in there earlier?
Did you accidentally put it in the devlog? Because I know you were doing a devlog earlier.
No, it's in the it's in the live streams channel. That's strange, as I'm seeing it right now.
Oh, I just did it in the announcements.
Ah, I see a Fruix. Speaking of, hello. Welcome to the Art Team Office Hours. Griffin Phyllis, Sequential Shutlock, and Fruxius, and Computer User.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry if I put it in the wrong channel. I figured the live streams channel was like for the community live streams.
Ah. Fruix is working on the Unity SDK to convert cube maps now. That's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Right after the stream, since you were talking about getting models set up, I think the easiest way for you to get those models set up is for me to just say get like a few models, package them up in like GLTFs, and add like the textures and materials in them. And that should help out.
Mm-hmm.
And then package them in a zip folder, and that should help out. I'll link to you in Nextcloud. Things like furniture and stuff like that, and maybe some props here and there would be good examples for the Unity SDK.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'll see if I can find the car that I made earlier too.
Definitely a lot of the furniture from the cloud home, like the chairs, the sofas. Um,
The plants as well.
yeah, we should throw like a planter in there. That way we can check like they're using LODs, and I don't know. Well, I mean, obviously it's not going to carry over in the model, but it would be interesting to see if we can get LODs to go from Unity to Resonite.
Yeah.
since they're using similar components.
Yeah. We don't have it for this yet. Okay. Yeah,
Cool.
Fruke says it'll be a good idea to test the conversion for it, so yeah, that's good to know. I think we'll do that first, get those set up.
Mm-hmm.
We got two packages of, or packs of plants. One is including the ones behind us right now, which is like a tropical like plant pack, and then the one that is usually seen in the cloud home. So we can get those both set up.
And they both have custom DDS files for their mip mapping, so we can try it with the normal like Resonite mip mapping, and then the custom DDS one we put in there to make sure their
Converting
custom mip
mip
maps
maps
move
is
forward as well.
also, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
mip maps for custom ones will be a good thing to test. Because in some game engines, they automatically do the mip maps for you, and with what we did with the plants, we had to do like an esoteric way to set up the mip maps for it, so that the leaves don't disappear over. Oh, I see. Mip maps don't transfer; they're generated on. What if they're
Yes, we're
custom
using specific ones.
for the plants specifically?
We had to manually create the mip maps for them for
That
both sets.
way, so that they don't disappear when you look away from them.
It should. It's just a file. So instead of well, I would need to know if the Unity LOD component, sorry, not LOD component, the mip map thing, can have custom mip maps enabled or not. But
Ah,
if it does allow the use of custom mip maps, then it should just read the ones that are in the file already.
I mean, likely you'd be able to use custom mip maps in Unity like any other game engine, though.
As far as I know, you were just in like where it takes the texture. Instead of using a texture, you would use a DDS file, a .dds.
Well, that's like another textured file format, though.
Yeah, and that has a little bit more information in it for the mip maps. Um, and then the only other option would be that you would have to mess with is whether or not you can turn off it generating mip maps.
Okay. Oh, you mean to like stop it from generating it automatically?
Yeah, because like in here, if you have a texture, actually I might need to like import an image to showcase this. Let me grab one real quick.
Yeah. To kind of go over like the reason why again that we did it for the plants. Usually by default, when the mip maps are generated, it kind of dissolves the image over time if it's a cutout. And so, if we want to keep like the foliage of like a world to be more flush or vibrant,
I guess I could have taken the plants mip map, yeah, but there's a little button right here that says mip maps, and we can just checkbox that in Resonite to turn off like the ones that it's using. Um, and then we could just provide our own based on the image. I don't know if Unity has an option for that because I don't use Unity all that much. I used it for a while when I was working on stuff for VRChat, but quickly dropped that once I learned of Resonite/Neos.
that is an image.
They are creatures.
Scrungly creature. Fruit eater. Hello, decoy.
But yes, if we could have conversion for stuff like bitmaps and LOD things, that would make people bringing content from other platforms over a lot easier. Because I know that that is something that people have asked for when trying to like either recreate maps or um, optimize things. And a lot of people know the Unity specific like LOD component and how it works. I think the one in here needs to be tweaked a little bit as well because crossfading doesn't work, and working with it is a little hard because you kind of have to play with it long enough that you can kind of finesse it, uh, just based on feel alone. And it's a little bit different between VR and desktop because of the way that the screen is rendering objects. So things in desktop are going to be a different size compared to when you're looking at it through the headset.
Yeah, and to kind of like go over what Fruit said too, crossfading is a shader thing on that end, and we're
Yeah.
planning on replacing it once we have a better custom system. Like, reason why we aren't adding custom shaders based off of Unity right now is because we plan on swapping away from Unity for a different rendering engine, which will likely have like not only the feature parity that we have right now with everything that we have currently that we see in Resonite, but also the ability to have things like custom shaders or additional features, or, for example, like being able to rotate reflection pros, which Unity hasn't had that ability compared to other engines for probably a decade or two, which I find strange. And we do have a question. First question of the day from Nuki-kun. In relation to the world that we are in. Hello, doggies. I saw the other day that the Dunes was updated. Would you like to talk about that?
Uh, I mean, the last time it was updated was December of last year. Um, we did a few things from the last one. If you haven't been here in a while, like since it first dropped, it might look quite different. Completely redid the terrain textures. It's a splat map now, or kind of a hybrid thing. So the main centerpiece of the map, so where you spend most of your time, is a splat map. And we can talk about that in a second. But I made some materials for that splat map, which you can see here, like a rock texture, a sand texture, and a mud texture, and layered them in a way to make the terrain look a little bit more realistic, but also to kind of just like look much more high quality. Um, and as you can see, the splat map is not very complicated. It really didn't need to be. Um, and the fading between the different materials just makes it work. Uh, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so the other thing that we did was I split the map into 9 chunks. There is the center chunk, which is the one that we're in, and the one that the texture is working on. And then there are 8 surrounding chunks because this map is quite large. Uh, and those I made a lot lower poly than they were before. I think we removed like almost a million triangles from the original mesh, um, so that people could get better performance. And also having them in 8 chunks means that they are de-rendered when you're not looking at them, or like they're cold from the cluster color. A lot better than when they were how it was before. One of the things we made sure to do as well is to pin the vertices on those chunk borders so that when they were uh, optimized, they didn't misalign themselves, so that all the like chunks still fit together neatly. Um, then we updated the plants, made a DDS file for the tropical plants, which is actually used in everywhere else that these plants are used now. We had to like retroactively update those. And we did work on some updates to the Dawn materials that we want to try to move um, into, say, like the Cloud Home and stuff. We were kind of like testing a few edits to them in this world. Like if they just wants to bring the camera over here to the stucco, which was given a little bit of like a upgrade.
Ambient occlusion and updated normals.
Yeah, proper metallic map, ambient occlusion, proper height map, as well as packed. I think this one is using packed height, which means that the height map is packed into the metallic map to make it even more efficient so that there's less materials.
Also, the metal trims has had a tweak as well too.
Yeah. Let me bring out some of the originals so people can see like the actual difference between them. Let me go to the Resonite folder.
Could
Sets
probably
Resonite
even
assets.
get some of them off of the tools themselves.
So here's the stucco, and here's the metal. Now these are what they looked like before. And what I did was I went through and I got a little bit of help from Gareth as well, for a lot of like this extra packing stuff, to like pack the height into the metallic channel. Um, but I wanted the metals to feel more metallic, so they have proper metallic maps now. And there were some normal maps on a few of them that just didn't quite match what we were trying to do with them. It worked for the time, but we had made these materials pretty quickly. So I went and got like a proper detail normal map, um, and got it sized up correctly so it's not all squished and stretched. Because that's I think what we were using before for like some of the brushed metal was just a bumpy normal map that was very stretched, which it worked, but didn't look as good as it could. So got a proper brushed metal normal map and detail map, and then got a proper metallic map for the trim metals, and then the stucco was almost completely kind of redone from the same pattern. I went in Substance, got the pattern that we used for the base of it, and then kind of redid it. I tried to keep a lot of the same like colors and stuff. This one is edited to be a little bit more orange because I felt like that fit the rock here better. But if we were going to use it on the Cloud Home, we'd probably go with the color that it originally was, so it'll be a little bit lighter. But it would still keep the depth and the kind of feel from this. What was the other one we changed? It was this siding material. Yeah, you can kind of look at it here. This
That's
is the
part of
with
the
the
metal
brushed metal.
trims.
Yeah,
Same with the golden trims up there too, had the same treatment in brass.
yeah.
Or bronze. Brass is more goldish color.
But yeah, that's a lot of the kind of big changes we did. Oh, I did also fix the water and the lake so that it looks a lot nicer. It's a little bit less dynamic, but I think I like the stillness and the reflectivity of that
Looks
kind of
more
water
real.
pool. Yeah, very relaxing.
And speaking of updates to worlds, we have updated the Cloud Home as well too last night. Mainly
Mm-hmm.
going through multiple GitHub issues and figuring out what we can do now versus what we're gonna have to just pretty much save for a rework of the entire Cloud Home, because once we work on a new beginner's experience, that will include a rework of the Cloud Home, tutorial world, and other worlds associated with it too.
Yep.
Now, the next question kind of relates back to Unity and such. Uh, Planet Patty asks, you can have Unity, you can have custom shaders now. With the Unity SDK, in regards to that, it's specifically designed to convert assets from Unity into Resonite. So if you have like a custom shader, it will not convert compared to like if we had like a down the line a custom shaders system within Resonite. When we have a different rendering engine, it will probably have the capability of doing that with some extra coding on that end for the SDK. But what
As for
for
right now, though, I think you can only use like the basic shaders that we're using inside of Resonite as well.
PBR or PBS shaders, Tune, and unlit materials and filtered materials.
That would be cool. I
And
wonder
as
if some of the
Fuchs
shaders like Tune can be made to be ported like that.
likely, yeah, and as Fuchs says too, can only convert things to what Resonite itself supports. We do not support custom shaders right now, so you can't convert them at the moment. However, if you map them to existing shaders, maybe with some extra logic, it will be able to do so. And I figured the same thing too. And another question, this time from Koshode Uwu. Is the multi-tool that Aegis is using public? Indeed it is. And I shall show you where it is located. Just turn on my UI. Go to smooth POV here. So everybody gets this folder. It's called the Resonite Essentials by default. And then there's a subcategory here called Tools. And then there's another subcategory called Miscellaneous. And this is where they are. There's several handles to choose from. They all function the same.
I actually have the curved handle in real life. I printed.
Yeah, you 3D printed it using resin.
Mm-hmm. It took like 8 hours. It was so long. It's because I made it solid build, but it's a hefty chunk.
In order to use this right now, you simply just open your radio menu, click multi-tool, and you can select a tool by just hovering over this little center circle onto that tool. Neat thing about this is you can actually take these out and swap out their location. And I can even say take this custom protoflux tool, swap it out like that. Now it's on this one. And under the hood, you can actually duplicate these slots an infinite amount of times potentially, so you can have more than just this as an
You
option.
can set up custom tools to snap onto that too. Like if you have a tool that
Mm-hmm.
you want or that you've made, like a raw data tooltip that does a specific function, you could just add it as part of those little modules.
There is going to
Um,
be an update to the tools as well to properly align the tools themselves. It's like each tool has like a different offset that's going to be fixed in the next like pass of the tools, as well as updating all the original brushes to also include new brushes as well too, and some new features that haven't really, well, not really new features, but like features that are within the brushes that haven't been explored yet in the
these are only
actual
usable
brushes.
in VR right now, right?
The multi-tools, yeah, at the moment I would have to investigate how to get positioning of this stuff on the screen for desktop users. But currently, it is like one of the first ventures I had into spatial variables. I'm gonna restore my multi-tool. Come on. There we go. Now I got my custom tools here.
So many tools.
Yeah.
I think the camera's still on your smooth POV.
Yep, I know. There we go. As well as my Revit UI is on. There we go.
Hooray.
Yeah. I know one of the things I want to try to do with the brushes is see if there's things that people would use them for like building worlds. Is making brushes like a brush that can draw clouds or rivers or terrain
Mm-hmm.
and stuff is pretty cool, especially now that we have the new brush, or relatively new brush that Fruits created, where you can like cut holes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I almost had it. There we go.
I think one of the funner ones that I've seen that we've used before was the mesh brushes to make like racetracks, impromptu ones. Um, there was that one world where we took the tube mesh brush and just made like these giant pipe highways in the sky, and then we were riding like motorcycles and cars on the walls inside those tubes.
It was actually what I did with this brush as well too, where it would procedurally draw a ski or sledding like or snowboarding track. It is absolutely blinding in this lighting, but but yeah, it has like a little fence on each side, and
You can do it on here if you want to bring it like underneath,
oh,
or we could go
hold on,
inside the building as well.
smoothing. There we go. People saw the inside of my head. That was spooky.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and this technically used two brushes to achieve this effect because you can use a thing called tooltips or tool simulators to control tools via protoflux and components. And so I basically took the inputs of one brush and gave it another pass onto another brush. And using the ability to add multiple like different brush strokes on the same like brush, I used like some math to like align everything just right on each point, and I even randomized the points to kind of give it more of a natural hill look and made it adjustable via both triggers to make it wider or steeper.
And I think this is a good example of like if you want to make your own brush to do something very specific, like this is the kind of power that you can do with those custom brushes. Um, like being able to make an entire racetrack just from a brush is pretty cool. You could also do other things with it, like Christmas lights, or you know, even some of the ones that do like particles.
Yes. As I find where the other brush that I had somewhere.
And you can combine these too, right? Like if you wanted multiple different types of brushes in there.
Yeah. It's just if you want more than one material at the moment you have to treat it as two different brushes and use that tool simulator,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still achievable. I'm seeing where that other brush I had earlier. It's somewhere. When is Resonite 2 Electric Boogaloo? Uh, between now and the end of the heat death of the universe. And it will be 2D. Hence Resonite 2.
2D. It'd be fun is to make a world that's 2D and see how people like learn to navigate it. Like just have the entire world squished in one axis.
I remember Fruix was talking about one day making a 2D version of the platform. That would be pretty cool. We can have like different types of 2D environments, like isometric or top down or side.
I've seen people do stuff like that with like VR chat. Um, those isometric worlds or those like voxelized ones, but it's a lot of like shader magic that they were using to make those.
Still trying to find where that. Is it under my tools folder? Could be because I have a brushes folder underneath it too. Just in case. Aha. Finally. There we go. This is what I was looking for. So this is all one material brush, And if I just draw this out, this is just straight up a Hot Wheels track right now. And this was a remake of an old brush that I had years ago, but I didn't know how to properly align the brushes till, like, I think last month or the month before. I'm gonna be putting it in my public folder at some point. Same with the other ski jump one as well.
We do have another question from Castro Blades. Are those internal concepts for eventual UI redesigns? I know it's probably not happening anytime soon, but I am curious. I'm not sure what they're asking about.
Are there internal concepts for eventual UI
Oh, are
redesign?
there? Yeah.
Um, Depends on which one. I know Ryuvi has like concepts for example, updating the protoflux visuals, but a lot of it is more or less on getting each of the building blocks done for like the UI, and the UI being built on the same kind of principles of, well, for example, how the settings menu was done.
Yeah, I would say we just follow a set of rules that we've developed more than um, we've made concepts. Like, we know when we're making a piece of UI that we're going to have a certain curve. A lot of the UI is rounded, and we have like set numbers for those rounding figures. We have set colors
There's a
that we use for that,
calculator
like
that does
theming
all
for
the
those colors.
different
Yeah.
padding and such. Like a
And
lot
so
of
when
the
we're thinking about making a UI, we just think about what the content we want in there is going to be, and then the size of those panels and what kind of interactions there are. And then we just use these rules to make that UI. And usually it goes pretty quickly. Like making the help tab, like with Ryuvi, the most complicated thing was just getting like the back and forth stuff set up, and like making the actual like templates for each category. And now that they're all set up, we can just like copy in one of the templates and then edit it however we need.
yeah, it's like a lot of the stuff is built out of different templates. Like say like the building blocks that make a scroll bar functional, buttons,
It's all modular.
highlights, and all that. Usually it's more or less based off of getting all the features set for that. Say, for example, if I go to the world settings, it would have to be, or world's browser, there would have to be updates to how, say, like each of these elements are done for like the world previews and such.
Mm-hmm.
Or say for an inventory system, a way to move things from one place to another easily. File browser, etc. Settings is pretty much if you want like a idea of how the UI is going to look from here on out, is you got the settings menu and the help tab as good examples what the style is going to look like. But more or less it's just going through piece by piece, getting all the building blocks, and some pieces for the world's UI could also be used for other parts of the UI as well too.
Yep. Making sure that we stick to these like these values and colors and stuff help to keep everything uniform and like
Consistent.
familiar and yeah consistent.
So I'm gonna get the camera off of me, and we can continue streaming in here.
Mm-hmm. This is the little area underneath the building. We got like a little table chair area. There's even a cave, which honestly the cave isn't finished. Um, I don't know when I'll finish it. There's a few things that I think we'll need in order to finish that kind of structure down there, but fine. For now it works. Um,
I'm gonna
yeah.
make the light turn on in here. I thought it would.
Uh, there are no lamps down here.
There is one.
Oh, you mean those? Yeah, we have to. So I put that on a keypad.
Ah.
People were saying that the lights were causing issues for them, so I have them off by default, but you can turn them on with this right here.
Well, let's add a couple on around here. Kind of
So
light up the place.
these lamps, and I guess it is something that I edited from the last time people were in here, but they are set up to listen to the dynamic impulse from the like Cloud Home tablet that turns on and off the sconces. So they're labeled as sconces. You can change the color of them there, the intensity of the light, whether or not they're on or off. And they should automatically work if you just spawn the tablet out. And for those wondering what I'm talking about, it's this little thing right here. This is in the essentials. It's in the Cloud Home. A lot of the Dawn style maps, or even ones that use the Dawn Skybox, they will react to this panel because it's just using the dynamic impulses that are set up in the Skybox. So if you ever want to make anything like lights that work with this panel or in people's cloud homes without any need for like setup, you can just use the same dynamic impulse values or the dynamic variable values, and it should just work like it does for these lights. I think the way I'm doing these is a little tiny bit custom because I think I have like a main controlling light. These are all referencing, um, but that's just for ease of access. Oh, we can check mark that.
Learning how to make UI can be tricky at first, but a lot of it just has to deal with like setting up things in a hierarchy.
Yeah, most of UIX is like nesting things inside of other things. I highly recommend that if you're going to be making a bunch of UI, say if you're working on a project or a tool or something, do what we did and make a bunch of templates and then put them all together in different ways to make your UI. So, like if you want it to look a certain way, make a slider in that way, make a button, make a text field, and like once you have those all set up, then you can kind of throw them in there literally by just parenting them into the canvas because you can just do that with UIX and learning how to move that piece around,
Adjust the
learn how to
padding.
yeah adjust its size, and that'll kind of help you with it. Once
Hey,
you know like what kind of figures you like, you can start writing those down, like we did for these, and start making yourself like a set of guidelines for how to do them. And it's important to write them down too, because you don't have to go back and like research information or take apart your old stuff to look how it works.
yeah. The the another thing too to note is if you're designing UI, you gotta wonder first before you even build it. Is it gonna be a dynamic UI that will change its scale, or just be a static UI, or is it gonna be UI that will change, but in regards of like changing different pages or different visuals, where it's like actual separate pieces of UI that are like different pages. Is like that could depend on how you make things too, because making a dynamic UI is a whole nother ordeal. For example, making facets in Resonite, you have to account for different aspect ratios. It's like you got a square, and then it's like a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, and then you got like a tall aspect ratio or a wide aspect ratio, and those are like the three different ones you have to worry about. And with those set up, you basically learn how to also change these different elements, say like the trims, the buttons, or visuals, icons, text. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
there are components within UIX to deal with these as well too. One thing I did make too, and I think it's in the essentials somewhere too, and it's like a device that just changes the scale dynamically of a canvas to be like wide, narrow, square, and I call it the. I think I called it the canvas torture device or something because it just stretches and contracts and stretches and contracts
I remember you
constantly.
using that to test some of the Reso 98 facets.
Yeah. Within the essentials as well, there's a folder that is just for facets and it has all the default facets templates as well as a subfolder called Reso 98, and it basically is what you think it is. It's like all the default facets in a kind of a classic pixel arty, classic 90s operating system art style.
And if you want to know how to make your own like pieces like this, I highly recommend taking some of these, opening them up, and seeing how they work. And what we've done to like make them work. What I just set up on these as well.
I even made it so that you can make it dark mode or light mode or even change the color of them too with this one.
Some of the cool stuff about UIX specifically is, um, and like how these operate, the borders on them, the corners, and the icons and all that are all PNGs, right? So if you wanted to change the style of these or the color or anything like that, um, you can do it through those functions there. But you can also go into the actual facet itself and say, "Oh, I don't want these sharp corners. I want rounded corners." You could just replace it with a rounded variant of that nine slice, and that would update like the whole theming of that. Because a lot of the like nine slicing that they just did here was custom like pixel stuff, looking at how they did it on the Windows 98 platform.
Pixel art Resonite logo. I think we need it as a sticker. I really, really think it would
Yeah,
work well as a sticker.
we need to make one of um, those stickers that they would put on computers for like the operating system, like uh,
Resonite inside.
yeah.
I remember, oh, I have the picture somewhere on my computer, but it was like from my phone from years ago where someone put stickers on the school library computers.
Oh, I should also mention while we're talking about stickers, we do actually have a merch store. In case you've never looked at it, we got T-shirts on there, a whole bunch of other things, stickers, importantly, um, clothing. So definitely check it out. I believe you can get to it from the Resonite website. Um, there should be a button for merch, some fun things in there.
I found it. this this was on every single library computer in my high school. And it was there for like probably almost a year. Whoever did it, thank you.
We did some funny stuff with the computers in my school. We had Halo installed on every computer in the entire school, so that if we were ever like in a computer lab or in the library, we could play Halo, and we set up a thing to allow connections for those ones, like for Halo specifically, so that we could do a
LAN
LAN game.
parties.
Yeah, we could
Oh
do a
no.
LAN game from any computer in the entire school's network. So it was it was really fun. They did not like us doing that, however. Oh, and like the many versions of Minecraft that were stored there.
Man, all we had here was cool math games.
about that too. I had me and my friend group were pretty into computers, and I had already been using Blender for like all of high school, like the 4 years of high school, and we were doing all kinds of things to those computers. We set up like directories inside the school's storage system so that we could have like our own little folders to store like our homework and stuff in. Uh, and usually you couldn't access another person's inventory, like their folder. It was like securityed out. But if you made a folder in it and gave someone access to that specific thing, like because you can grant access to it if you have access, then you could just send them a shortcut, and it would just immediately take them to that folder. So we could make like a kind of file transfer system, so we didn't have to use USB sticks or anything like that.
I mean, that's resourceful, especially at that time too.
That's how we spread like Minecraft mod packs back in the day. Before people actually had mod packs, because this was before things like Curse Forge and a few of the other popular ones like Prism. Um, we would just make modded jars, and I remember I made a ton of modded jars, and we would just send the jar files as like prototype uh, mod packs because you could just load it all onto there.
Tom Tem says there was Doom on every single computer in my college. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
sounds about right.
I mean, it's very small, in regards to like file size and all that. It's pretty efficient.
Didn't someone make Doom in here?
Uh, I would like to know.
I know we have Tetris. Someone made Tetris in here.
Actually, a couple of times someone made Tetris. Actually, 3 times. Actually, I could probably even bring out one right now. Somewhere. If I can find it.
Actually, I wonder if there would be any kind of way you could use Resonite to like render other games in here. Would be interesting. So I know Minecraft has something similar where you would write scripts to change like a block and use that as like a display. So you could map like say Doom's rendering to either a texture or a grid of things in here, and then just swap it out through commands.
Someone did that with a text renderer and a Game Boy emulator.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
They were playing like Pokemon with it. It had a decent frame rate, at least for a game like that too. So it was definitely playable. It's really
Mm-hmm.
cool to see.
I love seeing crazy things like that in Resonite.
Aha. Well, what do we have here? Oh, that's kind of. I can't see anything.
Oh, did it grab your camera?
No, it's just dark. The blocks are lit
Oh, on my screen they look fine.
or un. There we go. It's like the old Game Boy times where you have to have like a light going around.
There's no backlight.
No backlight. Yeah, I have like one of those like the wide Game Boy Advances and like the clamshell.
I had a Game
Uh,
Boy Color like that, and then it had a light that you could plug into it.
yeah. This is now a Tetris stream. I love Resonite where you like literally anything could happen at like any moment.
Yeah.
1 minute you're just like talking about I don't know quantum physics or something, and then someone just whips out Tetris, and then everybody just watches someone play Tetris.
See, now we need to make it so that when blocks spawn, they have character colliders, and then you just have like a bunch of people that are shrunken down. They have to dodge the blocks while you play Tetris.
and then the platform disappears underneath them.
There was a game mode like that in Little Big Planet. It was like I can't remember if it was called Falling Bombs or something like that, but there was like a bunch of pieces, and you had to like hide for as long as possible from things that were falling, and like whoever survived the longest would win.
Well, I think I screwed myself. Maybe.
Decoy, so-called free will when someone spawns the funny item.
I have to play it. Someone talked about Tetris, and it's like, I mean, we're still gonna answer questions.
Yeah, if y'all have questions, like send them in chat. Make sure there's a question mark at the end, and we'll answer them to the best of our ability. Go over Resonite or the content stuff that we're making, the art team, even the tools that we use. Like we use Substance Painter, Blender, Audacity, all kinds of stuff like that. Or if there's any kind of like mechanics you want to know how work, or that you've seen us work on that are still mysterious. I still need to make the wiki page for the dynamic collection probe system, but I also need to make some updates to it. So
Ah, yes,
probably do the
perfect.
updates and then do the wiki page.
Okay, that'll work.
I mean, I'm pretty much good to go anytime. I would say maybe not after today's stream because I'm gonna be tired, but I could do tomorrow. Thursday would probably be fine.
Right after the stream, I'm gonna be helping Fruks with some of the Unity SDK stuff by setting up some models for him. But probably after that, I'll be free. And getting myself some dinner.
You're just doing your interview while eating. Just like, no, hold on. Griffin Phyllis asks, "What cool projects are either of you working towards
Um, other than like official projects like the universe, the beginner's experience, been trying to build a racing game in here using a kind of like a hover bike slash hovercar system, similar to what Agra was doing, but in this case like a hover bike where you're able to do stunts with it if you want. Similar
right?"
to an old PS1 game called Jet Moto. Even in the same kind of graphic style as well too. The other kind of thing is making templates for like shooter games in here as well. For combat system. Raivi has been doing something like that as of late too. Went into Sketchfab and found like a unique like early 2000s like military rifle that I wanted to set up in here. I'll bring it in after I. There we go. All right, I'll be here all day.
Something I've been wanting to work on is I have like an idea for a game, and there are certain parts of it that we've like already kind of built up
Well,
and
I could
know
bring out the concept
how.
for that.
Yeah, like we
Or
know how
do
we
you
want
have
it to
it?
work in some ways, and we have like the rough parts of it scripted out. Um, I don't want to give too much of it away at the moment, and it's definitely not something that's going to come out anytime soon. Like I'm taking my time with this because it's just a personal project, and I don't want to stress out too much on it. At the same time, if I have a lot to work on, then it is being put on the back burner. So it'll probably be a while before it gets finished, or is in a state where we can showcase it a little. Uh, but a lot of the thought towards the gameplay and what people will do in it has been fleshed out. You can bring out like the I think you we're talking about wanting to bring out one of the pieces that we
The
were making for him.
sketches.
Yeah, you can bring out the sketch.
I
Um,
don't know where I left it though. That's the thing. I think actually you were the one that saved it in your own project folder.
yeah, I have a I think I have a version of it saved. I've also been uh not feeling well. I have a bunch of like medical issues with my thyroid that cause me issues, especially with like energy. Let's see here. So I've been taking it easy and working on stuff pretty much just when I need to work on things, and then other than that, trying to not collapse. Let's see. Trying to find the folder. Can't remember where I put the folder.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was you that saved it. I didn't save it.
Uh, this one I believe.
Ah, there it is.
So, without giving away too much, this is what would essentially be the map for the game. It's going to take place in a ship. This is the design for the ship that we kind of thought about. Um, and I think when it's more fleshed out, we can go over like how the gameplay in it will actually work. Um, but the ship's going to have a bunch of different levels and stuff for people to do around it. And it's not going to be solely about the ship, because there's definitely going to be like different environments the ship's going to be in. Um, but the interaction with the world is going to be through the ship itself. Game would be for like maybe 4 to 6 people. I could probably think about making a version that's single player, but I really like the idea of this just being a kind of group game.
A co-op game would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Uh, VR as well, but will also be playable in desktop. I'll definitely make sure of that. But yeah, I think it'll be something that's gonna be fun. It's taking some inspiration from a few other games as well that you'll probably definitely see once we have some more fleshed out concepts for those things.
Things
Before I think a
like
lot of
Iron Lung and Voices of the Void.
yeah, before some like real work can be done on it, I think I want to like get the actual ship model first, and then from there we can start like either adding things or removing things from it itself, based on kind of what we feel during some of the testing. Um, that's probably one of the larger projects that I've been, like cooking up. Just haven't had a lot of time to work on it recently, especially with working on some like official content things and whatnot.
Yeah. It's a balance between personal stuff, life, and work.
Mm-hmm.
As for like the combat system and stuff like that, I've been learning how to set up different weapons and such, and make this more visible, or just at least get in the sun more. In particular, I found this model on Sketchfab, learning how to use different interactions for like hand anchors. For example, this front grip right here actually locks your hand in place. You can like rotate things around, and for these bolts right here, you can actually grab and pull it back. Even the magazine right here, I can grab and then pull it out. And even the magazine right here too, because this is it's called an OICW, and it has like both a grenade launcher and a regular rifle. I also got this model because, for some reason, whoever modeled this put a Pepis sticker on it, so I thought it was funny. So, yeah, separated basically every single individual movable object on this, eventually make it work and function. Let's see, where was it? Yeah, you can see the back there too. But yeah, things like
Also,
that.
Fruits, I feel that honestly, a lot of our personal projects just end up turning into like group projects or the things for the platform anyway. which I like it that way. It's fun.
Ah, yes, HCVR. Yeah, I've been playing that as well as Pavlov. That's where I get a lot of the ideas of how interactions would work. And it
Mm-hmm.
got me learning because the hover bike that I was working on earlier too got me ideas of how to uh, utilize anchors for avatars, not just for like seats, but for like objects too. There was an MMC entry for like the contest a couple years ago, or a few years ago, where it was swords and like melee weapons where hands would lock into different parts of the weapon and it would interact different ways depending on how you hold it, and like the weight would also change depending on what it is too. And yeah, that was like another thing too that made me want to look into these things and got me more familiar with how these work. Because I started with setting up the hover bike with making a desktop animation mode where it would lock the hands in place in the little control joysticks on the bike if you're in desktop mode, and kind of like animate the character around it. And yeah, learning that got me to learn how to use the anchors not only in sense for like, actual avatar anchors, but tools and grabbable items too, which is really cool. And there's even some small details on that gun over there where if you put both hands on the weapon with the front grip, it makes it less heavy because you're using both of your hands. And
Oh,
good
got the cube
news,
maps to
Fruit's
work.
got cube maps to work in the Unity SDK. Congrats. And this is probably a good note to leave.
Now, what about hypercube maps?
Hypercube maps? Hyper four dimensional. I don't. Well, there are some games that render four dimensions in a way where you adjust the fourth dimension, but it gives you a 3D slice. Someone's made a Minecraft clone like it, and as well as the 40 Toys game that someone made. Frux's response.
Waiting for the extra spatial dimension DLC for the universe first.
Yes, that's correct.
What if I want to like three-dimensionally project my 4D noise map?
I mean, I think that exists.
Actually, I think that's just a volume,
Like
like a
a
what
3D
was it called? The fog volume.
a 3D noise map with a it's got X, Y, and Z and W. W is like the extra value you change the randomization of the noise. And for a 3D texture, that's a fourth dimension already. Now, for a 2D texture, you got a third thing for noise, and for a 2D texture that changes that's randomly generated, it technically imagine a slice of a large object that has like a whole bunch of random patterns or whatnot. It's pretty much what like a noise map is, with like a extra dimension on it for 3D, but it's still 2D image. It's weird.
Well,
Dimensions are weird.
thank y'all for coming out and listening to us
Yes.
rant and rave crazy. Um, and thank you for asking your questions. So hopefully we were able to answer a couple that were came in. Oh, we need to get the panel out for the support
Yes,
as well.
that's what I'm up to right now. And it's actually in the essentials right now too, with the latest version of it.
Thank you
And
for supporting
yeah,
Resonite. This is what lets us work on it for as long as we have been, and what lets us make all these great things.
yes. And this board right here is accessible in the Resonite Essentials, and it actually updates every time there's a new patron on each of these tiers. And this is just only a fraction of the amount of supporters there are. There's another one which will create a entire wall of text of names of the amount of people supporting in general. Thank you
Yep.
all, and have a good one.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Have a good day.
Now to get something to munch on. Take care, everyone.